All right, we're going to talk about filters and layer styles and smart objects, three other tools that you have in Photoshop. And filters are essentially ways of adding special effects to your image. One of the reasons that we go to so much trouble to make selections, which we've been doing the past few days, we've been learning how to make selections. Like I'm just going to quickly make a selection for this lion head here. And we talked last time about masks and how to get all this hair here using mask mode and mask layers and so forth. And just real quick, I'm also going to show you that you could just, if you wanted to, just get the old polygonal lasso, hold down the shift key and just kind of add stuff like this. You can even curve if you're kind of click, 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 click around the curve. All right, so anyway, that's another way to add to your selection there. Okay, so anyway, once you make a selection, what have you made the selection for? Well, some of the things we've already done, some of the reasons we've already made a selection are to move it to another file, combine it with another file. You could resize it. Like if I do Command T, I can, make it smaller or larger or whatever I need to do. But another reason is to add an effect. That would be another reason to make a selection. So I've got this selection. Let's just say I want to add an effect. And what we want to look at first is filters. Okay, so I'm going to go to the top of the screen to the word filter. And I'm going to go down and first thing I'm going to look at is filter gallery. There's a lot of choices here, a lot of things to look at, but the richest, most number of options will be here. So just go right to filter gallery and wait for the window. There, the window will pop up here. And let me make it small enough so you can see the whole thing. Okay, and right off the bat we got a pretty good filter effect. It just automatically went to the first one. There's an artistic category. That's colored pencil. No, it's cut out. Okay, yeah, that's cut out. And if you look, you'll see that it has number of levels 4. Well, that's a default setting. You can ask for more if you want. You can go up to 8 or 7. There's just any number of filters that you can play with. And then edge simplicity. This has to do with how simpler the edge is going to be. And then edge fidelity, how kind of similar, but how close will the edges be to what the original photograph is? You can lower the fidelity and it gets more abstract. Okay, so that's pretty nice filter. There's other ones like colored pencil, kind of interesting. Dry brush, film grain, fresco, neon glow, palette knife, rough pastel, looks like it's painted on canvas, smudge stick, plastic wrap, of course, because we always wrap our lions, poster edges, which kind of turns it into almost comic booky, but more poster, and then sponge, watercolor. You can go down here to brush strokes and look at these things, accented edges, angled strokes. I'll just go over here to ink outlines, dark strokes. Sumi-e refers to a ink brush, a Japanese ink brush. Spatter, sprayed strokes. Let's look at distort, diffuse glow, glass. Looks like he's behind your shower door waiting for you to come out. Ocean ripple is kind of like glass. It's just bigger lumps, but most of these have, if you look at the top right, they have modifiers like this. You can change the ripple magnitude and the ripple size, things like that. Go down to sketch and you got things that are more black and white, bas relief, charcoal. And by the way, you may wonder, why is it blue and red? That's because those are the colors that I've got in Photoshop. Like if you look there, my foreground color is red and my background color is blue. So a lot of these filters are based on my foreground and background color. So you can change that depending on the colors that you've got chosen. Charcoal, chrome, some of them are black and white automatically like chrome. Halftone patterns, kind of a dot pattern. Photocopy is almost as if you several generations on a copy machine. Note paper makes it look like it has texture. Stamp, plaster. These are really interesting. So you have a lot of choices here. Glowing edges. So those are some nice ones. The best one I like so far has been cutout, so I can use that. Okay, so I've got that cutout filter on there. Now you're probably thinking non-destructively now. You think, well, okay, I just destroyed that because now he's changed and that's the way it is. Well, here's what you can do. Instead of doing what I did, you can make your selection, and just like we did with the sand dune the other day, you can copy, Command C, and then paste, Command V for paste, and Photoshop automatically pastes it in place. So there it is. If you look at the layers, there's a layer above with just the head. And then conveniently, if I go back up to filter, it has filter gallery down as the third choice, but the first choice also says filter gallery. So you go, what's that about? That's because we used it, and so now if I go to this first one, it's going to apply the most recent filter that I used, which was cutout. So I know that this is going to give me the cutout look. So I just click on that, and all of a sudden there's the cutout. And it's non-destructive because I've got a copy of it. I can hide it, and there's the original down there. So this is another non-destructive way of working. Just duplicate what you're selecting and paste it on another layer and keep the original back there. Okay. Okay, so that's filters, and that's how they work. Another fun thing to do sometimes is combine these things. Like layer 1 has got the cutout, but I could do some erasing and kind of gradually reveal the line beneath it if I wanted to. So that you can play around with where the filter is affected, especially when you copy it and put it above. You can control how much of the filter and where people see it. Okay, and that's filters. All right. Filters pretty much have to have something to work with. For instance, if you just do a new document and it doesn't have any information on it, even if you put a color in there and you try to do cutout, well, nothing happens, obviously. Or even some of these others, you can choose all these and not much happens. Once in a while you'll get one. If it's an abstract, you can get some abstract texture. But in general, if there's no detail on the original image, your filter won't do anything. So you have to have something to work with first. Now, one exception to that is clouds. If you go under filter and go to render and do clouds, clouds will give you a starting point. I'm going to change this foreground color to maybe white. Okay, so now I've got a white and a blue. Maybe change this blue to something darker, because the clouds filter is going to use the colors that I have. All right, so I'm going to go to filter, and of course we worked with the filter gallery, but down here under render there's some more stuff. There's clouds, so I'm going to choose clouds, and all of a sudden, boom, it gave me some automatic clouds based on the colors that I had over here. If I'd done something really crazy like red and blue and did clouds, it would give me that. So you can do something odd if you want. But now that we have something here, some of these other filters in the filter gallery would do something. There's some raw material now for it to work with. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that filters, 80% of the time they won't work on a flat color. They need some detail to work with. All right. Okay, and now we will move on to our next topic, which is layer styles.